spiritual leader. Thousands of street kids worldwide have reached out to him and heard his message. It is our great privilege today to welcome one of this country's most admired spiritual leaders. Please help me welcome Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. And I would also like to introduce Rabbi Gabrielle Newman of Congregation Beth Israel of New Orleans. Yes? And people all over this world love you.
I don't know if they love me, but I love them.
No, they love you. And you have already, I said, endeared yourself to every person on this staff. You are a hugging person. You love people, and you love to make them feel better.
I tell you, you know, the greatest privilege of our generation is that we can walk up to a person and hug them and kiss them. We don't even know who they are. No, imagine I walk up to a person I didn't know 100 years ago, I'd be arrested, right?
That's right. A little bit about yourself. You got out of Germany, pre-Nazi Germany, came to America,
and officially I grew up. I don't know if I did, but
don't ever grow up completely.
God forbid,
no.
Yeah. I swore never to.
But
then I became a rabbi, and I realized that nobody comes to the synagogue, to be honest. So I realized that I have to go out on the street. You know, imagine I'm a doctor, nobody comes. So I have to look for the sick people on the street. And miraculously, at one night, I met a person who was playing guitar. All he knew was 2 chords. But with 2 chords, you can play every song in the world. So the next day I got myself a guitar, and I began composing some melodies. And you see, after the Second World War, Jewish spiritual music came to a standstill, because all those great composers said enough, weren't there anymore. So let's say we Jewish people were hungry for new music. And God gave me the privilege to make up new songs. And today, thank God, you know, a little bit without bragging, it's in my style, because I changed the style a little bit, and that's it.
Your ministry then is through song.
You see, I have a synagogue in New York also.
Yes.
But I'm there only twice a month, and the rest I travel all over the world.
And you were also in Israel.
You know what I always say, why do we Jewish people have 2 feet? One for Israel, one for America. You know, you go back and forth.
But you, for years, and obviously still today, did reach out to young people. Young people were having problems with drugs, alcohol.
You see what it is? Let's put it this way. The problem is, the world says the problem are the young people. The problem is us, not the young people. The young people are the best. The problem with us is that we don't give them what they need. So this whole generation thought if they take drugs, maybe they'll find what they need. But what, you see, I had a house in San Francisco for 10 years called House of Love and Prayer. And it was open to every race, every religion. And we had the privilege of really like putting young people back on the map, you know, who were like a little bit, who had given up on the world. I always told my friends that, you know, if you're sick, you need chemicals to go to the bathroom, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're healthy, you don't need it. The same way, if you're sick, God forbid, you need chemicals to get close to people. But if you're healthy, you don't need drugs. I remember one time, the boy who was heavy on drugs came to me and says, if I'm not smoked up completely, I'm afraid to talk to people. So I said, you know what, for 3 days, walk with me around. On the 2nd day, he says, I don't need it anymore, thank God, you know? I'm not afraid of people anymore. So I had the privilege of getting close to a lot of people.
Would you sing us a song, one of your...
For you, Angela, anything.
Okay, great.
By the way, can you sing this, my friends?
was that?
I honestly, you see, some great rabbi said, anything which is not your doing, you have a right to brag.
Okay.
You see, so I didn't study music. I still don't know how to read, but God bless me that I'm making up a lot of melodies. So I really wrote thousands of melodies. And think I can, people are singing it.
You are his friend. I mean, you have, he has influenced your life.
Yes. My knowledge of Shlomo and my feelings about Shlomo go back quite a long way. It was in South Africa that I first experienced Shlomo. I grew up in South Africa, and I recall his coming to South Africa when I was 14 years of age. And he performed a concert in Johannesburg, where there were thousands in attendance. And it's very difficult to describe, Angela, exactly what happens at a Shlomo Carlebach concert. But the reaction was very new for South Africa and for the South African Jewish community. The audience was electrified. They were dancing and screaming and running around to the point where the management of the theater sent in the managers to ask us to stop. They were afraid we would bring the stage down, literally. And Shlomo said, yes, we'll stop, and then he carried on. And I think that night, Shlomo changed many, many people's lives. I was affected, I was influenced by it, certainly, and my pursuit of the joy of Judaism, which I experienced that night, is probably something that happened for many others as well. This is an effect that Shlomo has on people. He brings to them the joy of Judaism, and he brings to them the joy of life. And his songs somehow magically contain that message. He has rehabilitated people simply through his music. He doesn't use any medications to help them get off whatever they've been on. It's the joy that comes through in his music and in his love that helps them find light again and find the way to God. It's a tough world that we live in. There's a lot of enemy. People experience a lot of loneliness. And the message of our Torah, the message of our Judaism, originally was that if you feel God's presence in your day, as you should, every moment of every day, you'll never feel lonely. You're never alone. And this is the message that Shlomo conveys to everyone. He's a rabbi par excellence, in the sense that a rabbi is supposed to exhibit to everyone the same love that God feels for everyone. And Shlomo does that, and through doing that, he lets people know that they are loved, that God is there, appreciating the uniqueness of each one of them.
Well, we are going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to ask this wonderful man to continue singing. We're also going to find out how he makes God laugh. Right after that. Guest today, we have Rabbi Garvril Newman. I'm saying that wrong, aren't I? Why is it so hard for me to say that?
Well, maybe you'll be more comfortable with Gabriel, the English.
Okay.
Gavriel is the Hebrew. Or you could call me Gabi, like my friends.
Okay, that's fine. And also Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, who has touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people with his song. And we do want to hear both of you sing again, but I think you brought up something we need to talk about, and that is the loneliness that so many people feel today, and especially young people. Why do you think that is? But was that always, or is it this generation, our generation?
Well, let me speak about New Orleans. Let me speak about my own congregants, my own members whom I know so well. And you'll probably recall this too yourself, Angela. The Jewish community, in my older members, goes back to days when they remember doing business around Dryard Street, Carondelet Street, St. Charles. They remember being very close. They remember living in closeness geographically, as well as a social closeness, a cohesiveness. They recall to me the days when the Jewish community was so well interconnected with the rest of the community that there was a living together in a warmth and a happiness that was shared by all. There was clearly a citizenry in New Orleans where every person cared for another, and you felt it. My congregants now tell me about their mothers having open homes into which service people came, Army, Navy people, to get meals, to taste matzo ball soup, and so on. What has happened over the years? Well, we all know what's happened to Dryard Street and Carondelet Street. The Jewish community has spread itself much further now through the city, and with time, that closeness, I think, has broken down somewhat. And the result of that is, I think, that loneliness. At workplaces, people are much less warm than they used to be. There's a technical and very cold approach to business and to work today. And all of this is resulting in the fact that we're more task-oriented than people-oriented. And so there's a loneliness. People feel it.
Probably also how we have had to lock our doors in our fear of crime, and we're not sitting on the porches, and we're not in our neighborhoods as we once were, and maybe that has added to it too. But I've heard the most wonderful stories about Rabbi Shlomo, and one of them is how you've gone into prisons, and be 500 prisoners, and you stop and hug each one. And some of these men probably have never been hugged. Touching.
We need to hear your story about the one prisoner, Shlomo.
I tell you, we are living in a world where, today, a good teacher is a teacher who keeps discipline. You know what discipline is? Make a distance between you and the student, right? And parents call good education is that my children don't interfere with my career, right? I mean, everybody's pushing the other one off so far. And I could swear that all the prisoners, really are played in heavy security prisons. They never had a good friend. So anyway, when I was there sometimes, in fact, I was just a few weeks ago again, when I play with prisoners, the most important thing is they need someone to hug them and kiss them, and someone to tell them how beautiful they are. I mean, in prison, the guards are walking around telling everyone, oh, you look so beautiful today. You're handsome, right? But anyway, at one, I think Rabbi Nguyen maybe told the Angela, at one of my concerts, I played for 2,000 inmates, but they break them up 500, because they're afraid if 2,000 be in one room, it might get out of hand. Anyway, I played for them, and then it was so beautiful together. Like those few minutes we were together, nobody was in prison, we were all free. And then I hugged them again, I kissed them, they walked out, and there was one young inmate, a brother. He was operated by the door leaving, then he came back to me. He's 18 years old and he's in there for life. Heartbreaking. So he says to me, please give me another hug. Who knows if I'll ever get another hug again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, heartbreaking.
Well, would you sing us another song? Both of you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is one song. It's actually, you see, I make up melodies, but the words I take from the Psalms. And sometimes the translation fits the melody. This is one of those where it does. Because of my brothers and friends, because of my sisters and friends, please let me ask, please let me sing, peace to you. Join me, everyone. Because of my brothers and friends, because of my sisters and friends, please let me ask, please let me sing, peace to you. This is the house of the Lord. I wish they